Shining Revelry is TCG Pocket's first ever expansion pack with shiny Pokemon. If you're a shiny hunter, you cannot miss out on this set. In this video, we're going to cover everything we know about this set so far. Welcome back to another TCG Pocket video. It's Bro Vinny here. Is this the first time that Pokemon Company is promoting alcohol in their games? Quite frankly, I had to look up what the word revelry means. I've actually never used that word before, so I'm letting my ignorance show here. Apparently, it means lively, noisy festivities, especially when it involves drinking a large amount of alcohol. And the usage of this word has largely faded over time until maybe TCG Pocket brought it back. This pack actually brings back a lot of memories for myself because I actually started collecting Pokemon cards again as an adult around the time of Hidden Fates, in fact just before that at Unbroken Bonds. And I kinda started my channel on this pack.
Fire Energy, Misty, Misty Million, Misty's Grit, Misty Poke Slow, Misty Torb, Misty Chew, Misty Cans, Misty Fair. Oh!
We finally got it! Let's gently touch it and check the centering on it. Oh my god!
That was me 5 years ago pulling shiny Charizard GX from Hidden Fates, which is the chase card of that set, no doubt. But in that same set, Lucario is also one of the shiny Pokemon that you can get. And around the same generation of cards at Unbroken Bonds was also where I pulled a Red's Challenge, one of the few times Red had actually appeared in TCG games. So although they went with a slightly different art style for Red, I felt like I was transported back all the way to Hidden Fates, back in time 5 years ago when those cards were released. But in this trailer video, they also showcase some other Pokemon that can be shiny in this new set. And there's one more reason you don't want to miss out on this set on release, because these missions will be limited time only, where you'll be able to get one of these decks for completing those missions for free. So make sure you choose wisely. My recommendation is use your pack hourglass first to see which of the 9 4-diamond EX cards that you can already get without using your free mission token to get it. Then decide at the end which one you're going to guarantee with the mission reward. I based this information from PokemonZone.com, which has given us pretty accurate information about upcoming changes and releases in the game so far. And yes, you heard that right. There are going to be 9 new EX Pokemon in this set, the most of any single expansion pack, booster pack has ever contained in terms of 4-diamond EX cards. In Genetic Apex, Mythical Island, Spacetime Smackdown, or even Triumphant Light, all of those in any single pack only had 5 4-diamond EX cards. So in terms of completing your EX card collection, this expansion pack will be the most difficult to complete. But it looks like several, if not all, of the 4-diamond rarities will have alternate art variants. So for example, the shiny Charizard GX version is the same as the 4-diamond version in terms of their stats and attacks. And that's also true for Lucario EX as well. We don't know if it will apply to all the other EX Pokemon, whether they're all going to get shiny variants yet. And you definitely don't want to miss out on these new cosmetics as well. Look how good those shiny Charizards look. In terms of release dates, Shining Revelry will be released on the 27th of March. The limited deck missions will begin on the 28th of March. Ranked matches are also coming to the game, dropping at the same time on the 28th of March, giving us no time to prepare after the release of Shining Revelry, diving straight into ranked matches. So it might be good to look at each of the cards that we already know about in preparation for the ranked matches release, which we'll do towards the end of the video. The last set I want to talk about before diving into the stats of the new cards is this new rarity. I don't know if there's a name for it yet. I've seen Pokemon Zone call it Shiny Rarity. I've seen people call it the Rainbow Rarity. The only thing we really know about this rarity is that it's tied to shiny Pokemon or shining Pokemon. How it relates to 2-star rarity, whether it's going to be replacing some of the cards into 2-star rarity in terms of offering rates, or if it's going to be a completely separate category, it's going to be interesting to see. So you can bet that we'll be doing an offering rates video when this set drops. The rainbow rarity doesn't look like it completely replaces 2 stars because here you can see red 2-star is available. It appears that the 2 rainbow variants are the ones that are full art, like this Charizard here. Whereas the 1 rainbow rarity will be the non-full arts, the regular arts. What we also don't know is whether there's going to be 3 rainbow rarity. So kind of like immersive, but for shiny Pokemon. Or if there will be immersive cards in this set at all. That is something we don't yet know. We also don't know if Crown Rare is going to be in this set. And one more thing we don't know for sure, and we'll have to test this, is whether there's going to be any dead rates for Rainbow Rarity. Meaning that there's a chance that it won't show up on Wonder Pick. So only time will tell. Now let's take a look at all of the cards that we know about and whether there's going to be some sort of meta relevance for these new cards. First up is Charizard EX. Compared to our first Charizard EX, it has the exact same health, but it costs 1 extra retreat cost. It has the ability to ramp up its energy by 3 with its first attack. And while it looks like it's not going to cost you a lot of fire energy, which is a good thing to use this first attack, you would have had to take 3 turns to evolve this Charizard. So would it really have made a difference what this first attack cost is, when in theory you should have 3 energies built already by this point? I think it's still worth considering because you could just put the other fire energy onto another Pokemon and allow Charizard EX to build its own energy, so you need to be thinking ahead of time. By the Charmeleon stage, maybe only have 2 fire energy on the Charmeleon, evolve it, use Stoke to get 3 extra energies in order to then subsequently use Steam Artillery. The advantage of Steam Artillery is, of course, it doesn't cost you any fire energies, whereas Crimson Storm costs you 2 fire energies. But Crimson Storm does more damage for less cost. And at 5 energy, I'm particularly concerned about Gallade EX doing 100 additional damage to the Charizard, which is 170 damage, almost taking out the Charizard, definitely taking it out if you have Giovanni as well. Not only that, we're also getting Red as a card in this game, which does plus 20 damage to the active Pokemon if it's an EX Pokemon. So that's another card to worry about in that situation. Next is Lucario EX, 3 fighting energy for 100 damage plus 30 on the bench. You could combine it with Lucario to do an additional 20 damage, so it's 120 to the active Pokemon. Unfortunately, what you can't do is run 4 Riolu in the deck, since Riolu have the same name no matter what expansion pack they came from. So unfortunately, you can't run 2 Lucario EX and 2 Lucario, all in the same deck. Even though you could put them in, there won't be enough Riolu to evolve them all. This Pachirisu speeds up your energy gains by giving an electric energy to one of your benched electric Pokemon. This is like Manaphy but for electric types, but Manaphy ramps it up a bit quicker, as water types usually do. I mean, look at Misty. Water types seem to ramp up energy quickly as part of their theme. The advantage of Pachirisu is that it will survive a little bit longer with 70 HP, and it does 10 damage to your opponent, which isn't very much. But these days, even 10 damage could be a concern when there's Cyrus who can subsequently bring out that damaged Pokemon. Unfortunately, for a card like this, to ramp up the energy, it needs to survive an extra few turns. So the 70 HP actually makes sense. Because if it only survived 1 turn, you spent 1 energy to gain 1 energy, it didn't help you at all. You've wasted 1 energy to gain 1. You need some extra turns for this attack to see the returns. That is also true for Manaphy, but Manaphy you can see the return immediately. I am personally more scared of Wiglet being in the game. This thing immediately does 30 damage to one of your Pokemon. I mean, that's not very different to, say, Hitmonlee, which has been around the game forever. But once it evolves, and I know you can't read the text there, so we'll read it here. With 3 energies, Wugtrio EX will do 50 damage 3 times to random Pokemon on your opponent's side. If that sounds familiar, yeah, that's like this guy here, which was at the start of the game quite a niche deck to play because it requires 2 different energies to run and 4 of them, which is quite expensive, and it needs to evolve twice. So this thing is like a mini Dragonite, but combined with the fact that Wiglet could bring down your opponent's HP by just the right amount so that you can math out multiples of 50 in order to take out with Wugtrio after it evolves, there's a little bit of a math mind game in using Wiglet. So try not to get left at 50 HP, 100 HP, or 150 HP when you're up against Wiglet. I don't have much to say about this card because I don't know its evolution Reveroom's stats yet. I really like the art on this one. I mean, this Tatsugiri just looks like a boss. Again, not too much to say because this card seems to work well with Dondozo. I just don't know what Dondozo actually does yet. I like this attack. I think this will speed up your evolution, especially if you're looking to fully evolve Sprigatito into Meowscarada. But with this attack ramping up your evolution, could you have another 2-stage Pokemon in the deck? Pinsir makes a return to the game with Guillotine Rush, doing 50 damage, but then you can flip coins until tails, kind of like Misty, and do 40 damage for each heads. Seems like a risky card to run for 3 energy cost, but maybe it won't cost as much if you're using it alongside Superior. Iono will be a situational card. If your opponent has a lot of cards on their hand, they might be a bit bricked, and you allowing them to redraw that many cards seems like you're helping them a lot. It reminds me of Red Card, but as a supporter card. Of course, if you have a lot of cards on hand and you're pretty bricked, then Iono can help you a lot. Big fan of Red. If you've seen, one of my channel logos is actually my head on Red's body from Unbroken Bonds. This card is Giovanni, but with extra damage against EX Pokemon. Not too much to say here, it's just quite similar to how you would use Giovanni as a way to finish off your opponent if you're just off by a little bit of damage. Tinkaton EX makes its first appearance in this game. It does 80 damage, and if you flip heads you do 160, kind of like Executor EX, but with more damage and costs more energy. It does require 2 evolutions. Its full evolution is from Tinkatink to Tinkatuff to Tinkaton. So while 3 energy might sound like a lot, you needed that time to evolve it all the way anyway. So it's a question of how good the pre-evolutions are. Giratina EX is here, with an ability that sounds more like an attack, because if you use this ability Broken Space Bellow, you'll get an extra psychic energy from the energy zone and attach it to Giratina. But if you use this ability, your turn ends. So how is that different to just an attack? Well, turn 1, you're not allowed to attack, but you can use an ability. And it doesn't say that you have to use this ability from the active slot. So if you happen to be building energy on some other Pokemon, or if it's turn 1 and you can't attack anyway, this ability is actually speeding up your energy gains. Unfortunately though, for 4 energy it only does 130 damage. Then it hurts itself by 20 damage. Pikachu EX is returning too. For 3 energy costs, it has to discard all energy on itself, kind of like this Raichu here. But this Raichu works with Lieutenant Surge, whereas Pikachu EX doesn't. So I'm not too sure how this one will play out. This feels like a finishing move, and it's quite costly at that. Paldean Clodsire is coming. Not that there's a non-Paldean Clodsire, because the other variant is called a Quagsire. It uses Venoshock, which if your opponent's poisoned will do 60 more damage. So I'm hoping Paldean Wooper will give poison status in order to use Venoshock for 120 damage after it evolves. Beedrill EX is also coming. For evolving it fully and for 2 energy costs only, you will do 80 damage and also discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. This attack can hinder your opponent's progress, but the only problem is it will take you quite a while to get there because you need to evolve it fully first. I'm not too sure what the goal of Bibarel EX is. It kind of feels like a Venusaur, but weaker. It does 100 damage to your opponent, heals 30 on itself. Of course, it's 1 less evolution compared to Venusaur, but Venusaur works well with Erica, whereas Bibarel doesn't, so from a healing and HP perspective, it kinda loses out. There you have it guys, everything we know about Shining Revelry so far. I'm a big fan of shiny hunting, but I'm pretty sure I won't be able to complete this set because at the rate they're releasing new sets, there's just not enough Pack Hourglass to go around. And completely unrelated, but I've still got a sealed Hidden Fates Ultra Premium collection. Maybe I should break it open to celebrate this set release. Thank you for watching guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.